Tom Anderson is the 2018 winner of the instrumental category. Welcome, Tom.
It's good to be here, thank you.
Now, you obviously have a lot of interest in ragtime music. Your winning song is called Ragtime Palpitations. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, I wrote it in 1990, so I don't remember a lot about it, but when I came to enter it in the competition, I thought it needed a good 4-bar introduction, so I worked on that and came up with the first 4 bars, which I think strengthens the piece. Then I didn't like the title, so I changed it to Ragtime Palpitations because there's a G7 chords, repeated 3 times in the beginning, sounded like a stutter or a palpitation.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And what is it about ragtime music that really interests you?
Well, I got into it in my 20s in the 1970s,
Yeah.
and my teacher taught me Scott Joplin, and I took to that music straight away. I think it's got something, a joyful syncopation. There's something about it that, all I can say, it's joyful and it's syncopated.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot of that style of music, and I listened to different recordings, and yes, so that's it. So I had that background in me. So when I came to write in the 1980s or the 1990s, I had some background within me to write.
Right, okay. And how do you write? Do you just sit down in front of the keyboard and it all comes to you?
Well, what I do, I set aside 3 hours on a Saturday night, and from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's just there's no one around, and I feel freer, and the next day's an easy day. And I just go in with, say, 4 or 5 bars of music, and I fiddle around on the piano, or I think up a tune in my head and work on that. Then I might think, I don't like that, I'll try another thing. I try to put my own stamp on it so that I try to use non-ragtime chord progressions or do it differently, maybe have a long introduction or a long ending, just to make sure it's different and put my own stamp on it. And there's lots of ways you can do that.
Right. And you have a lot of other ragtime songs beside the winning song, don't you?
Yes, I've written about a dozen or 13 or 14 ragtime pieces, and so I've written a lot. I've also written songs in the past, a lot of songs, and also tried my hand at piano pieces.
Right, okay. Any thoughts of composing in other styles of music as well?
Well, I've been looking at piano pieces. I don't know whether you call it contemporary classical or just a piano piece, and I've been writing in those styles. Of course, writing songs, ballads and songs different along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And do you perform live anywhere with your music?
Well, I'm not performing is not my forte, but I have performed in the past. Like in the 1990s, I played piano at nursing homes for a number of years.
Right, okay.
Then with my local church at Gaimea, when I lived there, and at Kiama, where I'm living there now.
Right.
And more recently, I finished 7 years with a ukulele group, the Blowhole Baskets at Kiama,
Right.
and that was a really good experience because everyone wanted a song. I wanted a different type of song, and I had to learn it on YouTube. I found the music, so I picked up a lot of new songs, met a lot of good people, and it was a buzz to perform, quite exhilarating but nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ukulele, it's a lovely instrument. It's what do they say, the happiest little instrument on the planet.
That's what the leader says. It's a joyful instrument, and it's not too hard to learn.
Yes.
So we started off 7.5 years ago with 5 people, and now there's about 40 or 50 on the books.
Mm-hmm.
It's incorporated, and the group goes around and plays at nursing homes, which is great, or ukulele festivals and that sort of thing. Sometimes the drum up trade at local restaurants and cafes.
Yes, yes. Oh, good. Well, what's for the future with you, Tom? You're happy just continuing to compose songs in ragtime type style, or do you have other avenues that you're looking at?
I'm giving ragtime a break for the moment. I'm writing piano pieces. Also, I'm promoting my music. I have some music published with an education music publisher, and I'll go down that track. But Reed Music published 5 of my piano pieces and rag pieces about 4 or 5 years ago. I want to promote that, work on new pieces and promote them. And also I co-authored a suite for flute and piano about 2 years ago, and I want to promote that. So I think it's the best thing. I got together with Tricia, who's a highly qualified musician, a flute player. We worked on a piano and flute, a flute and piano suite, and we think it's great, and we're going to promote that.
Okay, well, that's good. All the best with that, Tom. Thanks for popping in, and we look forward to hearing the performance tonight.
Thank you, Alan. It's been great.
Okay, Tom Anderson.